Every single day, people wake up, make breakfast, kiss their families goodbye, go to work, and never come home. Not because of a car accident, not because of a war, but because of something quietly happening inside their chest, something most of them never even knew was there. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death on this entire planet, and it has been for decades. It kills more people every year than cancer, more than accidents, more than any virus or pandemic we have ever faced. And the terrifying part? Most people still do not take it seriously enough until it is too late. Today, we are going to talk about everything. What heart disease actually is, why it is so deadly, who is really at risk, what the warning signs are that most people ignore, and most importantly, what you can do right now to protect yourself and the people you love. This is one of those videos you are going to want to watch till the very end, because somewhere in here, there might be information that literally saves your life or someone else's. Let us start from the very beginning. Your heart is a muscle, about the size of your fist, and it beats roughly 100,000 times every single day. It pumps blood through a massive network of blood vessels that, if you stretch them all out, would circle the earth more than twice. Every organ in your body depends on that blood flow to survive. Your brain, your kidneys, your lungs, your muscles. Everything is connected to what your heart is doing. So when something goes wrong with the heart, the consequences spread everywhere. Now, when people say heart disease, they are actually talking about a group of conditions, not just one single problem. The most common type is called coronary artery disease, which is when the arteries that supply blood to the heart itself become narrow or blocked. Think of it like a pipe in your house. If grease and debris slowly build up inside that pipe over many years, eventually the water cannot flow through properly. The same thing happens in your arteries. A fatty substance called plaque builds up on the inner walls of these blood vessels over time. This process is called atherosclerosis, and the scary thing is it begins much earlier in life than most people realize. Studies have found early signs of plaque buildup in teenagers and young adults. By the time someone reaches their 40s or 50s, the damage has often been silently accumulating for decades. When those arteries become narrow enough, the heart muscle does not get enough oxygen-rich blood. This can cause chest pain, which doctors call angina. But sometimes, a piece of that plaque breaks off and a blood clot forms around it, completely blocking the artery. When that happens, part of the heart muscle starts dying because it is not getting any blood. That is a heart attack. And every minute that passes without treatment, more heart muscle is lost permanently. Now here is something that shocks most people when they first hear it. A significant number of heart attacks happen to people with no dramatic warning signs at all. They call it a silent heart attack, and it is more common than you might think. Someone might feel a little tired, have some mild discomfort they blame on indigestion, and just carry on with their day. Meanwhile, part of their heart is being damaged. They only find out later during a routine checkup when a doctor looks at their test results and says, "It looks like you've had a heart attack at some point." Imagine hearing those words. So why is this happening to so many people? Why, despite all the medical advances we have made, despite all the technology and research and medicines we have, is heart disease still killing more people than anything else? The answer comes down to lifestyle and biology working against us in ways that are deeply connected to how modern life is structured. The first major driver is what we eat. The modern diet in most parts of the world is loaded with processed foods, refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and excessive salt. These things drive up blood pressure, raise cholesterol levels, increase inflammation in the body, and contribute to weight gain, all of which put enormous strain on the heart and blood vessels. When you eat a diet high in saturated and trans fats, your liver produces more LDL cholesterol. That is the so-called bad cholesterol. And over time, this contributes directly to the plaque buildup we talked about earlier. The problem is that unhealthy food is often the cheapest, most convenient, most heavily advertised food available. People are not making bad choices out of ignorance alone. The entire food environment is designed in a way that makes unhealthy eating the path of least resistance. The second major driver is physical inactivity. The human body was built to move. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors walked, ran, climbed, lifted, and worked physically every single day. Today, millions of people sit for 8, 10, even 12 hours a day, at desks, in cars, on sofas. This sedentary lifestyle weakens the heart muscle itself, contributes to obesity, raises blood pressure, lowers good cholesterol, and increases the risk of diabetes, which is itself a major risk factor for heart disease. Research consistently shows that even moderate exercise, just 30 minutes of brisk walking most days of the week, can dramatically reduce the risk of heart problems. But the majority of people globally are not getting even that much. Then there is stress, chronic, ongoing stress, the kind that comes from financial pressure, difficult relationships, long working hours, uncertainty about the future. This is genuinely dangerous for the heart. When you are stressed, your body releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These raise your heart rate, increase your blood pressure, and over time can damage the lining of your arteries. Stress also leads many people toward other harmful behaviors: smoking, drinking, overeating, not sleeping, that compound the damage. Modern life has created a stress epidemic, and the heart is paying the price. Smoking deserves its own mention. Tobacco use is one of the single biggest risk factors for heart disease. The chemicals in cigarette smoke damage the lining of the arteries, promote plaque buildup, raise blood pressure, reduce oxygen in the blood, and make the blood more likely to clot. Smokers are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop heart disease than non-smokers. And it is not just the person smoking. Secondhand smoke also raises the risk for the people around them. Quitting smoking is arguably the single most impactful thing a smoker can do for their heart health, and the benefits begin almost immediately after stopping. High blood pressure, also called hypertension, is another enormous risk factor, and it is often called the silent killer for a reason. Most people with high blood pressure feel completely normal. There are no obvious symptoms. You do not feel pain. You do not feel sick. Your blood pressure is just quietly running too high, putting constant extra strain on the walls of your arteries and on the heart itself. Over time, this leads to damage that significantly increases the risk of heart attack and stroke. The only way to know if your blood pressure is too high is to measure it. And yet millions of people worldwide have hypertension and do not even know it because they have never had it checked. Diabetes is another condition deeply linked to heart disease. People with type 2 diabetes are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop heart problems. High blood sugar damages blood vessels and nerves throughout the body, including those connected to the heart. The combination of diabetes with other risk factors like high blood pressure and high cholesterol creates a particularly dangerous situation. And because type 2 diabetes is also closely linked to obesity and sedentary lifestyles, we are seeing it rise dramatically in younger age groups, which means heart disease risk is rising in younger people too. Speaking of younger people, this is something that really needs to be said clearly. Heart disease is no longer just an old person's problem. We are seeing heart attacks in people in their 30s and 40s with increasing frequency. Young athletes have collapsed on sports fields. People who looked completely healthy from the outside have died suddenly from cardiac events. While older age is definitely a risk factor, the idea that you are too young to worry about your heart is genuinely dangerous thinking. The habits and conditions you develop in your 20s and 30s are laying the foundation for what happens to your heart in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Every year you spend eating poorly, not exercising, smoking, or managing uncontrolled stress is a year of damage accumulating. Now let us talk about warning signs, because this is where knowing the right information can genuinely save a life. The most famous symptom of a heart attack is chest pain, a crushing, squeezing, pressure-like pain in the center or left side of the chest. But heart attacks do not always feel like that. Sometimes the pain spreads to the arm, the jaw, the neck, or the back. Some people feel intense nausea or vomiting. Some feel lightheaded or break into a cold sweat for no clear reason. Some feel an overwhelming sense of fatigue or shortness of breath, even without doing anything physical. And here is something critically important. These symptoms can present very differently in women compared to men. Women are more likely to experience the less classic symptoms like nausea, jaw pain, back pain, and extreme fatigue. Because heart attacks are so often depicted in movies and TV as a man clutching his chest dramatically, many women, and the people around them, do not recognize what is happening. This has contributed to women historically being undertreated for heart disease and having worse outcomes. Every person, regardless of gender, needs to know all of these warning signs. If you or someone near you experiences any of these symptoms, especially multiple ones at once, the most important thing you can do is call emergency services immediately. Do not wait and see. Do not try to drive yourself to the hospital. Every minute truly matters in a heart attack. The faster treatment begins, the more heart muscle can be saved, and the better the outcome. What about prevention? This is where things get genuinely hopeful, because unlike many diseases, heart disease is largely preventable. The lifestyle factors that drive most cases of heart disease are things we have real power to change. Diet is the foundation. Moving toward a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and healthy fats, and reducing processed foods, added sugars, red meat, and excessive salt, makes a measurable difference in cardiovascular risk. You do not have to be perfect. Even gradual, sustainable improvements to what you eat can have real benefits over time. Regular physical activity is the other pillar. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week. That can be walking, cycling, swimming, dancing, whatever you enjoy and can stick to. Exercise strengthens the heart muscle, lowers blood pressure, improves cholesterol levels, helps manage weight, reduces stress, and improves sleep quality. It is genuinely one of the most powerful medicines we have, and it is free. Managing stress is not just about feeling better mentally. It is a physical health necessity. Finding ways to regularly decompress, whether through prayer, meditation, spending time in nature, exercising, connecting with loved ones, or pursuing hobbies you enjoy, directly benefits your heart. Sleep is also critically important and often overlooked. Poor sleep raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, and disrupts the hormones that regulate hunger and metabolism. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Getting regular health checkups is essential. Knowing your blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, and your blood sugar is not optional. It is part of being responsible for your own health. Many of the most dangerous risk factors for heart disease have no symptoms at all. The only way to know is to check. Talk to your doctor, get your numbers, and understand what they mean. And if you smoke, stop. There is no safe level of tobacco use when it comes to heart health. The resources and support to quit have never been more widely available. This one change alone dramatically reduces risk within months. Here is the final thing to understand. Heart disease is not inevitable. It is not just something that happens to people. It is largely the result of a long series of small daily choices. What we eat, how much we move, how we manage stress, whether we get checked, whether we take our health seriously. The good news is that the heart is remarkably resilient. Even people who have already had a heart attack, even people who have spent years with unhealthy habits, can make meaningful improvements to their outcomes by changing course. It is never too early to start protecting your heart, and it is almost never too late. You have one heart. It works every moment of every day without you even thinking about it. The least you can do is give it the care it deserves. Share this with someone you love, because this information does not help anyone sitting unread. Take care of your heart, and your heart will take care of you.